I was raised in a really good godly home, godly parents. I was involved in all the church activities growing up. I made a profession of faith when I was about 10 years old, and I stayed in the faith until I was in about my late 20s. And that's when things just kind of started going south. I fell over the period of the next 10 years or so. I fell into the wrong crowd. The marriage that I was in crumbled. And I just decided that I was going to not follow the rules anymore. That's all I was taught when I was a kid, was the rules of Christianity. And so I just jumped into Satan's minefield. And I fell in with the wrong crowd. I learned to use alcohol as a way to silence the voice of the Holy Spirit. And I would wake up in the morning looking for the next time that I could have a party and get the voice out of my head that was calling me. I met my husband, Craig. When I met him, it was one of those Holy Spirit moments, even though I didn't want to admit it at the time. In about a year or so after we were married is when I had my Damascus Road experience. We had a tragic boat accident on the river. I was on the riverbank with a grounded boat, and Craig was on his way to the hospital with a shattered shoulder. And that was when I looked up at the Lord and I said, all right, you've got my attention now. And as I stood there on the riverbank, I felt God's touch, and I felt Him beckoning me to come back. As a child, I had learned about God's forgiveness and His mercy. But it wasn't until that moment that I fully experienced it and really knew what it meant in my soul. That was the moment that I was starstruck. Unlike someone who lived out in the world their whole life and then just recently came to know the Lord, they have an appreciation of mercy and grace and forgiveness. I think mine is a little different, and folks in my position probably feel the same way, that when you know what's right and you know how good God is and you walk away from Him, and then when you come back and He takes you back with no questions asked, I think that the experience of forgiveness and mercy is different, because you really know where you were and you really know what you did, and He took you back anyway.